What is happening, people? Thank you so much for joining me. Vicious Whispers with Mark Tullius, episode 19. Today we have chapter 12 of the Brightside audiobook. Hopefully you guys are enjoying that story. I am. It's probably because I wrote it, but it's also because I'm writing Beyond Brightside, which is getting pretty fucking gory. The main character in there, can't tell you who it is, don't want to give away anything, kills a lot of people. Maybe some innocent people. So trying to figure out how to let him have some redemption. Might be by saving a cat. It's like, I discussed that with my daughter this morning. I don't know if saving a cat really redeems you from killing innocent people, but can't hurt, right? Unless it's my cat, Ghost. No, and I'm kind of disappointed. None of you guys hit me up asking for that cat. If you had him, you wouldn't need an alarm anymore. He'd wake you up fucking early. You wouldn't need a spouse. You wouldn't need someone that disregards what you say. Like, he won't listen to anything you say. And he's kind of cute. And his claws are really fucking sharp. So if you have any furniture that needs destroying, yeah, it might be the cat for you. If so, be sure to hit me up. All right. What's been going on? Man, it's late in the week. I was supposed to record this a while ago, but I didn't. It was the release of Ain't No Messiah. I had some final stuff on there to get done. Thank you guys for supporting that. That's been awesome, especially all the reviews. If you haven't left a review yet, or if you only left it on Goodreads, if you could put it on Amazon, that would help a lot. My buddy Corey, he left an awesome one today. Really enjoyed it. He thought a lot of, I forget exactly how he put it. It was really well written. But a lot of the instances in there were taken from my personal life. I deny that shit. All made up. Totally. Everything. Yep. Let's stick with that. So that happened over the weekend. Had a good time. We went up to Big Bear with our friends, the Whites. Made the biggest fucking snowman I've ever made. It was, I had no idea making snowman was so easy. We had just recently gone up to Portland, and up there we were making them with the kids, and it took a while shoveling all the snow. And my friend's like, oh, I just saw on YouTube that all you got to do is put the ball, just get a small snowball and start rolling in the snow. And holy shit, before we were done, I might have a picture. I'll put it up there. I think the thing was like 7 feet tall. We barely got up the final ball. I don't know how much it weighed, but I was afraid that it might melt and kill a little kid walking by. But we took that risk. You know, sometimes you just gotta do it. Survival of the fittest, right? Shit ain't meant to be. It's not meant to be. And I was watching my kids, so I didn't let them near it. But I didn't read anything in the paper about it, so I don't think it happened. Besides that, what happened? The first day we were there, it was kind of wet. There was still snow on the ground. But it was raining, so we were all getting soaked. It was a little bit cold out, and I decided to let them bury me anyways. Just in my shirt. I took off my jacket, and it got kind of cold. And then after that, I realized, I was like, now I'm fucking soaking wet. My jacket was wet. Everything was wet. And have to walk back like 20 minutes. But I survived. So it was cool. That was fun. One thing that most definitely sucked was a fucking traffic coming home. Normally coming home from Big Bear, it could take about maybe 2 hours. It took 6. So it was 4 hours going the first, I think like 7 or 8 miles, because of a downed power line, I think. And then all the snow on the road and shit like that. So that sucked. But I was very glad to see that, like I handled it well. Generally, I would be pissed off. I would be upset. I would be like, fuck, I knew we shouldn't have come. I knew this was going to happen, blah, 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 blah. But none of that. It was like, it is what it is. The kids were awesome. My wife was awesome. So we enjoyed it. I worked on my German because we were sitting fucking still in the car for so long. And, yeah, so that was it. That was our fun, exciting trip to Big Bear. Oh, almost forgot. While there on the first night, I thought, or it might have been the second night, I asked anyone, we're kind of bored, and I asked them if they wanted to write a story. And of course, everyone said fucking no, no, no. But my friend Brenda said that she was kind of interested, so I just simply started asking them questions. Kind of what I would do to myself if I was writing the question. So I would just ask, okay, How old is the main character? Is it a boy or a girl? You know, what's her brother? You know, does she have brothers or sisters? And what's his name? And how old is he? And is he smart? And what is she like? And where is she at? And what grade is she in? And what time of the day is this? And what was really cool was they were all just answering the question. So as soon as I would ask it, they would say it. And sometimes they were differing. There was a difference of opinions, but for the most part, they are all kind of seeing the same thing. It really created a really cool story, especially the start. So I think it's strong. And then I went ahead and fucking twisted it because someone mentioned a rabbit, that she has a rabbit. And I realized, I was like, oh shit, this is the story I need to write about seeing my pet rabbit die. Sorry, I wasn't trying to cry right there. My voice just cracked. I swear to God, I'm not sad about that rabbit still. Although writing this might bring back some of those emotions that I probably suppressed. Or it was never really a big fucking deal and I'm just making a big deal now. Crazy how our memory works. But the important thing is I'm getting an awesome story out of it. And that is thanks to Matt, Brandis, and my wife, Jen. The kids were chiming in their responses, but I pretty much buzzed all of them. I was like, meh. Wrong answer. They were trying to twist it a little bit too much. I thought it was good the way it was. But it was cool. It was just everyone pitching ideas and coming up with a cool story. And I know that is a story that I could probably sell if I ever get around to writing it. I already put down, I already know, and this is how I break down every story. Just, all right, the start, the middle, the end. So I know what happens on every one of those steps. I've already inputted into the computer. Now it's a matter of just sitting down and writing it whenever I have time. Who knows when that's going to be, right? Because right now I'm flying on Beyond Brightside. Super pumped about it. Got a lot of good stuff this week. And I have to admit something. I was talking about my break from cannabis and caffeine and how I was committed to 6 weeks and blah, 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 blah. I said, fuck that. Because one was my wife saying that maybe I was a little uptight, especially at nighttime. By the end of the day, a little uptight. And I just was having so many conversations with myself, like, why am I even fucking doing this? Like, I've taken breaks before. I don't think cannabis is a negative thing at all. I think it's awesome. If you're old enough to use it and all that good stuff, blah, 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 blah. But I also know how much it helps me. So not only just dealing with emotional stuff like that, but also with writing. It was nice that I did take a break. And during that break, I was able to see again. I was like, okay, I can write without it. The scenes are fine without it. I get maybe 1,000 words a day, and I'll be happy with that, or 1,500, and it's a solid scene. The other day, I had caffeine and cannabis, and I wrote like 3,000 words, and it was a fucking awesome scene, and I could just see things clearly. And I'm not saying that's what I need in order to do it, or that you should try it because that's what's going to happen, but that's what it is for me. And with breaking the commitment too, it wasn't like an automatic choice either. So I gave it time. I actually talked with my buddy Eugene. We talk once a week. I was asking him how he felt, because he was also on a really strict thing where he was, I think he's going all vegan and no alcohol and stuff like that. And so I talked to him about the thought of breaking it. And he said he was all for it and how we need to find that balance and how both of us have a real big problem with being too hard on ourselves and judging ourselves and all that. So I was like, yep, all right. So I broke it and I feel way better for it. So again, I do have to, I just need to find balance. That's my biggest thing. Can't do anything dangerous. Don't want to be consuming too much caffeine. But I do think a little bit of caffeine, a little bit of cannabis probably enhances my life way more than it can hurt it. So yeah, as long as I have that balance, I will continue that shit. Oh, what else? One cool thing that's going on this week is with the release of Ain't No Messiah, we also have, I'm doing a blog tour where I don't actually have to fucking do anything. I just pop on and answer some questions if I'm wanted. But the really cool thing is all the responses have been really good, especially just about the cover alone. So the cover alone is getting people to buy the book. One lady wrote that she normally wouldn't buy a book like that, but then she read the excerpt, which was really pretty dark and disturbing. Let's go with that. And that convinced her. And so it's cool. I'm meeting new people, actually trying to develop relationships with fans, which is cool, with readers. And yeah, I'm digging it. And also, I've been getting a lot of reviews through, I think it's called Book Tasters. They find people that want to review your books, connect you, and you just send them the book. Finding some really awesome people there. One of the last ones said that she was trying to take a break from Stephen King, was looking for something that would, be different, but also, get that horror fix. And she loved Twisted Reunion. She was already writing back to me the next day, letting me know how much she was already enjoying it. Last night, she asked me if she can share it with her friends. And I told her, I was like, that's awesome. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I don't care about the buyers will come, but right now it's like, I want people just to read it. I want people to share it. If they have that kind of reaction where they can actually take the time to let me know, that's awesome. If they can tell their friends, that's even better. So, yeah, that is my goal. So yeah, the response for Ain't No Messiah has been great so far. Literary Titan just gave it a little silver award. I don't know, his best book of the month, or one of the best books of the month for them. So that's cool. Initially, I want to downplay it, say, well, who knows how big this site is, or whatever else. I'm always so fucking negative with myself. But people are enjoying the book. It could have been terrible reviews, but no, people are digging it. So let's pray that continues. Oh, totally forgot. With the blog tour, it's by Silver Dagger Book Tours. You can just type in Ain't No Messiah and Silver Dagger and it'll pop up. But on there's also a chance to win one of 4 Amazon gift cards. There's a shitload of people already entered, so the odds that you're going to win are probably not very good. Unless maybe the 4 lucky people that listened to this and then decided to do it are going to be the winners. You never know. Stranger shit's happened, right? One very cool thing that happened yesterday. I was going to go train at the youth center with one of my buddies at like 10 o'clock in the morning. I was like, that's my writing time, but I was like, it'd be good to train with him. He's getting ready for competition. I know I can trust him. I worked out with him 2 weeks ago and my shoulder felt okay. Because that's one of the important things is being able to, because I'm not supposed to be training yet because of the stem cell, I can train if I trust my partner and I'm not going to do anything crazy. So, I went there, but he got hurt the night before. He hurt his shoulder. So I was like, okay, I'll just stretch, and try to get loose. At least I did something. Then I realized, like, no, I want to fucking do jiu-jitsu. So I got my shit and I drove all the way to downtown LA to train at 10th Planet Headquarters. The entire time I'm telling myself, okay, you're only going to fucking watch because you don't know these warm-ups anymore. It's been forever since I trained. I'm going to get killed. There's going to be guys that are going full speed. And I'm not going to remember anything, and I'm going to be just awful shape. But what was cool was when I got there, one of my good friends, Danny, who's a brown belt, he's one of the instructors there now. We used to train all the time together, and so we were talking. He's like, "No, man," he's like, "You don't forget that shit. That's in your, you do it long enough, it's in your blood. It's in your body. Remembers it." So that made me feel kind of good. And then a couple other people were there, and then Eddie Bravo showed up, and so it was good seeing him again. And it was an awesome class. So not only did I get through most of the warm-ups, I didn't nail them, of course, and there was some new shit that I didn't know, but I learned some really cool stuff, and I reconnected with a bunch of friends that I missed. So that's one of the things I realized with jiu-jitsu is that social interaction I just don't get fucking sitting here writing by myself and talking to you fools. You're not fools, I'm sorry. Talking to you nice individuals. So I think I'm going to try to make that a habit again. I don't know how often I'll be going in. Maybe I'll just go once a week to headquarters. Probably also go to 10th Planet Pasadena. Try to get stuff done at the youth center. That in combination with yoga, I think I should be okay. Yesterday I felt really good, and I was surprised. I'm one of the older dudes in there, and I hadn't been doing it for so long, but it's because of the yoga that I was able to hang with most of the people. I was way more flexible than I had been before. I think I'm lighter, and so I don't know, even though I had the long break, I really didn't feel like I'm sore today, but I don't feel that bad. So if you are doing jiu-jitsu, or if you're older and thinking about trying to get into it, I would definitely recommend adding adding in yoga. Yoga's been huge for me with rehab, and not only with that, but it also helps with like I said, the flexibility, and then the breathing helps you relax. Sometimes it's hard relaxing when somebody's trying to choke you out, but if you relax, just breathe through it, it might help. And the other thing that was awesome about jiu-jitsu is just going to accepting how uncomfortable you are, accepting your self-doubts, and just getting over and fucking doing it. So that is the biggest thing. Just get out there and get on the mat. Good stuff is going to happen. Yeah, and then tonight I get to go to a daddy-daughter dance, which is awesome. I love hanging out with my daughter. I just don't like dancing. But again, something that makes me uncomfortable. It'd be way better for me if I fucking just do it. Just like yesterday, I didn't want to go to jiu-jitsu. I was scared of going to jiu-jitsu. I was afraid of looking silly. I was afraid of looking stupid, of not knowing shit that I used to know. And but it was all for nothing. All that worry for nothing. So yeah, getting uncomfortable is what I will do tonight. I might try to dance. We'll see. Let's slow dance. That fast shit, don't think it's happening. All right. Although I have been practicing my Fortnite dances. Actually, I haven't been practicing them, but I've been watching my kids. So just by watching them, I bet I could do them. All right. If so, maybe we'll even film it, and I'll put that on next week. You know that shit ain't happening. All right. No phones allowed, motherfuckers. All right. So let's wrap this shit up. We will get to the story, talk a little bit about it afterwards. So today we have chapter 12 of Brightside, narrated by T. Quillen. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it, and I will talk to you right afterwards.
Chapter 12. Our accelerated relationship took off again. Rachel and I were already gone in our heads, already free, lying on some beach, our sweat glistening in the sun. But she had to meet with Sharon every day, had a daily check-in to make sure she was still on the mend. I worried Rachel would slip, our plans landing right in Sharon's head. We'd both end up in the cabin, and this time forever. "You don't have to worry," Rachel said. "Listen." She closed her eyes. "What am I thinking?" I zeroed in, but heard nothing. No mantra, no hum. Just silence. Like Danny. "You're too far," I said. Rachel pressed herself against me. I listened. Still nothing. She stepped back, curtsied. "I learned it in the cabin. That's why they let me out. Nothing but a blank slate." "How?" "Something about the pills. I can just shut it off now." I thought back to the howling wind outside Oscar's, how I couldn't hear her thoughts, but it wasn't the noise. She just wasn't letting me in. I asked if she could get me some of the pills to see if they might work for me. She said she'd try, but it probably wouldn't happen. The medicine was locked up in the cabin. Always a guard posted. We focused on the plan, focused on training. Rachel said if I was going to do this, I had to get more comfortable with heights. We started a few 30-foot drops near the pond. Then, we moved on to her building. Had me lean out her window on the 5th floor. When a Brightsider passed underneath, I sprayed Windex on the window, pretended to clean. All of it made my heart feel like it was going to pop. My lungs closed. Everything tunneled. But I had to keep pressing, pushing myself higher. By day 99, I was ready for a rooftop. My office stood 7 stories high, the final test before our escape. I woke early, already sweating, picturing the fall, my face splattering. Rachel asked if I was afraid of falling or landing. "What's the difference?" Rachel said, "Landing means you don't want to die. Falling means you're a pussy." I didn't answer, but we both knew which category I fit into. Rachel asked if I wanted her to go up there with me for moral support. I told her no. This was something I had to do alone. Plus, rooftops were completely off limits to anyone not in maintenance, which is why after Rachel left for her meeting with Sharon, I had to see Danny. Even though Sarah warned me, if I ever came around, she'd turn me in, tell Sharon, the council, anyone who would listen. She'd tell them I'd found a way out. Danny was technically a janitor, but all the maintenance men wore the same uniform. I watched from down below, hiding behind a tree, hiding from the rain, as Sarah handed Danny his lunch. He'd done the buttons wrong again on his coveralls, and Sarah quickly fixed them. Then they came out of their building. Danny waved that pencil-clenched fist at her and headed to work. I cut him off. "Joe!" "Hey, Danny." "Where have you been, Joe?" "Sorry, I've been busy. But I brought you something." I pulled out another drawing. Billy Bass, Danny, and Sarah singing. "Joe!" Seeing how excited Danny was almost made me smile. "You like it?" Danny sounded like he was going to burst. "Best one!" "Good. That's good," I said. "Now, I was wondering if I could ask you a favor." "Anything, Joe." "I need one of your uniforms." "You're too big." "It doesn't matter. It's for a game." "Can I play?" "Eventually. But I'm still working out the rules." Danny's eyes got all wide and weird. I was trying to control my thoughts, but something slipped. "Why are you going to the roof, Joe?" I pulled him close, whispered, "I'm trying to challenge myself. Some personal improvement." "Like you're jogging?" "Just like that. Now, can you help me out?" Danny thought about it for a second, pictured his boss, Larry, yelling at him when he looked down at his drawing. His head started bobbing. "Oh, okay." Danny started taking off his coveralls right there in the open. No, one of your spares." He said okay, and we walked back to his place. My drawings covered the walls. He'd kept every one, tacked them up like a museum. Danny went to the closet, pulled out his spare uniform. He started to give it to me, but pulled it back. He was thinking about how I'd been avoiding him, angry at me for being such a crappy friend. I told him I'd make it up to him. "Can we have a party?" Danny asked. "Sure." "What's your favorite cake?" "I don't know. Whatever you like." He handed me the uniform. "No, what you like." "Okay. Angel food." "It's spongy, right?" "Yeah, it's spongy. But now I have to go." Danny sounded pretty sad when he said, "Okay." I got to the door, but Danny stared at me. "Be safe, Joe." I told him I would. Break was to be taken at 10 o'clock, but it had stopped raining and I didn't want to risk waiting another 20 minutes. Sarah was meeting with Carlos. I couldn't let her know. The stairwell was silent, not a noise above or below. It was for emergencies only, definitely not breaks, something Carlos loved reminding everyone. I peeked over the railing, made sure I was alone, then headed up the stairs. There was a padlock on the roof access door, but I'd also borrowed one of Danny's keys. Quickly, I slipped on Danny's spare coveralls and matching hat, both 2 sizes too small. The council had ruled the roof off limits after Paul's plunge. It was stupid to argue something could be completely fine one day, a liability the next. The roof was a roof. It wasn't safe or unsafe. It just was. Like a rope. A knife. Puddles covered the rooftop. It had been warmer these last few days. I wondered if it'd stay this way. I told myself to stop thinking. Time was running out. I needed to get back to my desk. There was a folding chair leaning up against the wall where they kept the air conditioners. I took my first step, and even though I was nowhere near the ledge, I was already soaking Danny's coveralls with my sweat. Baby steps. I moved over to the folding chair, stepping up. Even against the wall, it made me feel dizzy. I looked out at the mountains toward the cemetery. I couldn't see a thing with the sun peeking over the top. My eyes useless without my sunglasses. It wasn't a great feeling knowing the rangers could see me, but not so bad I'd be a good little citizen and go back downstairs. I needed to do this. I kept my hand on the wall at first, then slowly peeled it away. Just me standing on the chair, high above it all. It wasn't enough. I didn't come here for the view, so I got down, moved my chair a bit further, closer to the tiny concrete ledge that spanned the front of the building, closer to the ledge Paul said he tripped on. If I couldn't beat my fear of heights, day 100 would become 200, then 300. I'd never leave. I focused on the piece of duct tape on the pipe 8 feet from the ledge. I wiped my hand on my pants. As brave as I could, I took the chair across to the strip of silver. My next goal. I'd like to say it was easy, that I walked right up to that line and put down my chair. That'd be a lie. It took a minute, maybe 2, to get the chair there. Only a second to sit my ass down, get closer to the solid roof. The map Rachel had made clinked in my back pocket. I took it out, held it tight as a gust of wind blew across the roof. I opened the map, looked at it until my heart stopped thumping, until I knew every line, could see every squiggle, every road within 5 miles. I folded the paper in half 2 times, then ripped it again and again until there was no piece bigger than a stamp. I threw my hand in the air and let the wind carry most of the pieces away, the rest floating down on the roof, soaking up the water. I was doing pretty good right then, didn't feel nervous at all. Without a second thought, I scooped up the chair and duck-walked 2 feet, stopped about 6 from the ledge, my safe spot. The move didn't do too much to me. I was doing okay. My breaths still rapid, but not out of control. Still, I had to go all the way. Today wasn't the day to do anything half-ass. Not when it could mean getting my head blown off because I couldn't climb out of the mine shaft. I wasn't scared. My father's voice in my head. Be a man. The ledge was right there, close enough to touch. The building was less than a year old. But the foot-high hunk of concrete looked like it had been slapped on as an afterthought. I told myself not to freak out, that I was fine. Nothing was going to come along and push me off the chair, send me over the ledge. I was safe. I was doing it. I was being a man. Somehow I got my right foot on the ledge, pressed it a little to check for some give. I didn't feel any. I looked to the sky, figured this should be the part where I got rained on. Maybe a thunderstorm, the world's biggest flash flood, something to come and fling me off the roof, sending me to oblivion or a fancy wheelchair. A long time ago, I learned God doesn't answer prayers. If I wanted something done, I was going to have to do it. Before I could chicken out, I reached forward, put my hand on the ledge, the wet concrete, a rough slickness. My heart was thumping like I'd run a mile, but I was holding on to the ledge. I straightened my legs, got my ass out of the chair. I took a step closer. I was shivering, clutching that ledge like it was the only thing stopping me from going over, scared shitless like a little kid, scared of the American flag snapping in the air. Every day since my first one, I'd given myself 2 options, leave Brightside or else. But I couldn't do either one stuck on my knees. I squeezed the ledge tighter, holding my breath without knowing it. I blew out and took 3 quick ones, made my heart slow down. I was 28 years old. I could let go of the ledge. I could lean over and look down. Look down 80 feet, the wet sidewalk below, the exact spot Paul landed. The wind kept coming. The red, white, and blue firing whack, whack, whack. I was getting up. One way or another, I was getting on that ledge. If I couldn't do anything. I kept both hands on the concrete, my eyes on the flag, forced one foot up. I brought my other foot underneath me, had both on the ledge. I put my hand on my chest, felt my heart trying to break through. There was no one around that could hear me, but I said, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. And I was. I was standing so high above it all. I squinted my eyes as the wind whipped at my face. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. From somewhere in my head, my father's voice. Do it. I'm not sure what happened, but I wasn't scared. Of Dad. Of falling. Of anything. Dad couldn't hear me, but I said, sorry. Not today. Then I heard Mom's voice. Come on, Superman. Let's see you fly. I flipped them off with both hands, middle fingers to them and the world. Fuck them. Fuck Brightside. I was tired of getting picked on, told what to do. I'd stand on the ledge all goddamn night. A few Brightsiders took notice from across the square. I remained perfectly still, wondered who else was watching me, openly oppose a council sanction. The seconds ticked, and the wind whipped, threatened to tip me over the ledge. The longer I stood, the more ridiculous it got. I was being childish and irresponsible. I had a job to get back to, at least for a while. And I had the plan. And then all of a sudden, a woman shrieked from behind. Joe, don't! I turned to see who it was, and my right shoe went back too far. The heel hanging off the ledge, taking my weight with it. Sarah screamed my name again and ran toward me from the doorway. I began to fall. Everything switched to slow motion, my arms wheeling, Sarah running, no way she'd make it in time. I lowered my center of gravity and leaned forward, but my right shoe slipped off, took my left foot and the rest of me with it. I threw my arms out and they slammed onto the ledge, my chin bouncing off the concrete with a loud crunch. Blood filled my mouth. I thought I might make it, and then my weight pulled me down. Nothing for my hands to grab on. Sarah kept running, about 10 feet away, the sharp corner digging into my fingertips. Like I wasn't trying to hold on with everything I had, Sarah shouted, "Hold on, Joe! Hold on!" I blocked the pain and scissored the air, trying to find the wall in front of me. My grip was almost gone, my fingers bleeding, feet coming up short. Sarah skidded to a stop and grabbed hold of my hands, just as my fingers gave way. My right hand slipped through hers, but she held on to my left, her nails sinking into my forearm. She yanked on my arm with both hands, but I was dropping inch by inch. I threw up my right hand and gripped the outside ledge. It stopped my descent, but it wouldn't last long. My weight had already pulled Sarah to the ledge, and if I didn't do something, I'd be taking her with me. I kicked my legs one more time, and my right foot struck the smooth brick. There was a loud snap like concrete cracking, and gravity kept pulling me down. But I held on, the tips of both shoes now pressed against the wall. I was about to push up and off the wall, my one final shot, when Sarah gasped and fell forward, losing her grip Her shin smashed into the ledge an inch from my nose, a split second before my straining neck lost the battle, and my head was pulled over the ledge, my cheek dragged against the rough concrete. I couldn't see anything but the wall in front of me. I flung my hand where I'd last seen Sarah and clutched at the air. My fingers touched fabric and grabbed. "Pull, Sarah! Pull!" Sarah grunted and took off some of the pressure. I dug the tips of my shoes into the wall and kicked off and up. My head popped over the ledge, and I slammed my face against the concrete, used it to pry myself forward, but there was a loud rip, and my hand fell against the ledge, Sarah's sleeve beneath it. I heaved up with everything I had as Sarah pulled and grunted and pulled again. Finally, I was on my back, the wet roof feeling so good. Safe. Neither of us said a word, our ragged breathing saying it all. I tried to catch my breath and stared at the gray skies. When I was able to sit, I put my back against the ledge, and Sarah sat beside me. I was too embarrassed to look at her and hated myself for ripping her blouse and hurting her leg. I grabbed hold of my pants to stop shaking. Everything was numb, no pain anywhere, but I'd feel it later. All the blood and scraped skin promised that. Once I could speak, I said, "I'm sorry." "It's okay." "How'd you?" "Danny called me. He said you were..." I wasn't going to jump. "I get that now." Sarah felt stupid, knowing she almost got me killed. She'd run right up after Danny's call, terrified I was going to take the plunge like Paul. She'd come to Brightside thinking that Danny was all that mattered. But then she had to go and meet me, the only person who'd ever been nice to her brother. "I'm sorry for pushing you away." I tried to lighten the mood. "I'm just glad you didn't push me up here." We sat there awkwardly. I knew there were people down below who must have seen what just happened. There were a lot of people down there who were probably laughing their asses off. I wondered if Crystal was down there laughing too, and Wayne. Sarah said, "You're an idiot." "I know." "Which makes you a bigger idiot." "Yeah." I'd thrown up my middle fingers to get caught. "I hate that I met you, Joe. I really do. I don't want my life to be complicated. I just want things to be normal. For once in my stupid life. But..." I took Sarah's face, turned it ever so slightly. That cute little bump in her nose, those eyes, my lips pressed against hers. Some kisses are just the prelude to sex. Others are simply a kind gesture, a more intimate thank you. But every so often, a kiss silences everything. The universe just collapses and obliterates your silly existence. You realize everything you've been holding on to was plastic, stupid, just a distraction. Like Rachel. I didn't love her, never did. I just wanted someone to hold, press against. She never felt like this. Not like Sarah. Die or escape weren't my only two options. There was a third. Stay here on Brightside, with Sarah and Danny. I thanked her for the kiss, for putting up with me, for saving my life. I figured I might not see them for a while. My stunt would be a ticket straight to the cabin. Sarah squeezed my hand and assured me everything would be all right. Sarah's entire arm was bare without her sleeve. "Sorry about the shirt. I'll get you a new one," I said. "Don't worry about it. We should get back." It took me a second to get to my feet, the pain finally setting in. I wanted to thank Sarah for being so calm, but all I could think of was how I couldn't even afford to buy her a blouse. Sarah stood, her shin all bloody. I'll be okay. We made our way down the stairs, my legs shaky, not just from the falling, but from the kiss. What the hell were you thinking? That voice, not Sarah's. Hardly human, crazed, deadly. Rachel's. She stood at the bottom of the stairwell. Sarah's eyes glanced at me, scared. I told her to go and she went. Rachel pinned me up against the wall. What the fuck were you doing? Everyone saw you. I know. I'm an idiot. Rachel's eyes narrowed. She raised her hand. I thought she was going to hit me. But she just wiped my lip with her thumb. Pink. Little flecks of glitter. Sarah's lipstick. Rachel's mind bubbled with rage. Sarah's sweet neck in her hands. It's not what you think. The dumbest thing I'd ever said. Because it was exactly that. And so much more. I see. Rachel trailed off, tiny steps back. She bumped into the wall, jerked forward. Rachel, calm down. She started pulling at her hair, spinning around and round. I tried to touch her, but she threw off my hand. Her frantic thoughts came in flashes. Us making love, Boots dragging her away, Crystal underneath me, Sheila telling her everything, the stupid bitch who promised me she wouldn't. I was pouring water in her mouth at the cabin. I was telling her we could escape together, that I loved her. Everything closing in, the darkness, hurt, anger. Everything but hope. That was gone. Nothing but the vile truth. Rachel threw open the door, ran. I chased, but I couldn't catch her. Then Carlos grabbed my arm. Demarius grabbed the other. Rachel kept running, crying, broken once again because of me. Let go of me, I shouted. No, bro, Demarius said. You're going to see Sharon.
Ooh. So, Rachel has the ability to control her thoughts and shut them off. That'd be nice, right? Especially living in a place like Brightside, be able to pick off everyone else's and control your own. That's something Joe would definitely enjoy being able to do. But the thought of going to the cabin in order for that to happen, yeah, I wouldn't do that shit. I wouldn't take that pill. So what happened this chapter? They're preparing for the escape. Joe's dealing with his fear of heights. I'm not exactly sure where the fear of heights came from. I think I kind of have one now, and that's where it came from, obviously. So if I'm going to the top of a giant building, I'm probably not going to get that fucking close to the edge, which is kind of upsetting because a long time ago when I was a kid, I didn't give a fuck. Starting from like 5 years old, we would be climbing up to the top of our trees, which were at least 2 stories high, and at the very top, we would cross over to the other tree, which is nuts. I can't believe our parents let us do that. They probably told us not to, but we did anyways. But yeah, so I was constantly climbing trees. There's a lot in Messiah about the guy climbing up in a tree. The main character climbs up in a tree, enjoys it up there. That was definitely something I liked. But in Brightside, the guy is scared. So I guess I think that's one of the things with me is like I don't like fear. I don't like being scared, especially with something like I know I'm safe. If I'm standing here, I know I'm not going to go over the edge. But something I got to deal with. Maybe I had a close call once. I used to do jump off of waterfalls and shit like that. We used to go cliff diving all the time. Super dangerous, but we always survived. Yeah, so it wasn't until I actually gave shit about living that I started to have a fear of heights. And I wouldn't say it's severe, but it was enough to mention. So Joe's trying to work on his fear of heights. Maybe you guys can relate to that. And not a whole lot. Oh, and then at the end, busted by fucking Rachel. Yeah, that's a tough one. He was just with Rachel. Doesn't really care about her. Likes Sarah more. Got that kiss. She saved his life. I don't know. Can't really blame the guy. But now, what's gonna happen between them? Exciting shit. I guess we'll have to find out next week with chapter 13. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. I got some fucking stories to write, and I will see you next week. All right. Have an incredible weekend. Talk to you later. Peace.